Ever feel like you're just, running in circles, busy all the time, but maybe not really productive?
Oh, definitely.
Or that some processes, maybe at work, maybe even just organizing stuff at home, they just feel inefficient.
Absolutely. It's a common feeling.
Well, today we're going dip. We're diving into something called operational excellence, and we're using the Lean Shopfloor series materials as our guide here.
That's right.
So what we want to do in this deep dive, really, is cut through all the jargon and pull out the key things that make operations genuinely lean.
Exactly. What does lean actually mean?
Yeah, and pinpoint those common pitfalls, the things that trip people up, and maybe uncover some practical tools you can actually use, to boost efficiency, get more value, whether you're literally making cars or just trying to organize your email inbox. This is all about giving you a shortcut, really, to understanding how to strip away the waste and focus on what matters.
And we'll explore what lean really means beyond just, a buzzword. We'll look at how different operations work and critically how you fit into creating value.
Oh.
We'll uncover some maybe surprising facts about waste and then hopefully equip you with some powerful frameworks. Things like 5S, just-in-time, root cause analysis.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's unpack that first bit. When these materials talk about lean, what are we really talking about? What makes a manufacturer or any operation really lean?
Well, fundamentally, a lean operation is one that safely produces goods or delivers services of the highest quality for the least cost and, importantly, while creating the least possible waste.
Okay.
It's all geared towards what the customer actually values. The price, the quality, the presentation, the delivery, maximum customer value, minimum resources used. That's the core.
And you mentioned waste. That seems like a huge piece of this. The materials highlight 8 specific wastes. This is where I think it gets really interesting for everyone listening.
It really does.
Because I suspect we all see versions of these every day. Can you maybe walk us through those?
Sure. They're often called the 8 wastes of lean. You've got defects, things that are wrong and need fixing.
Rework.
Exactly. Then overproduction, making too much or too soon, time wasted, waiting for materials, information, approvals.
Waiting for approvals. I know that one.
Right. Then there's non-utilization of talent. This is a big one. Not using people's skills and ideas. Transporting, moving things around unnecessarily.
Okay.
Inventory, holding too much stock, which ties up capital and hides problems. Motion, unnecessary physical movement, like walking back and forth.
Like reaching for tools that aren't nearby.
Precisely. And the last one is excessive or unsuitable processing, doing more work than is actually needed to meet the customer's requirements. Recognizing these is really the first step. Waiting, for instance, is not just machines idle. It's us waiting for that email back, right?
That non-utilization of talent one really does stick out. It's not just about physical stuff. It's about people's potential going untapped.
Absolutely. It's a critical waste.
So what does this mean for, someone listening, someone working in any kind of organization? Where do they fit into creating value? Or maybe how might they unintentionally be part of that waste without realizing it?
Well, that's a crucial point. The materials emphasize that every single person plays a role in the value chain. Every single group affects the operation.
Not just the people on the front line.
Not at all. Everyone has an opportunity to improve the process and the product or service. Think about it. Administration, finance, planning, HR, IT, they all support that value creation process. So a decision made in purchasing, for example, about getting the absolute cheapest component might actually cause defects down the line.
Okay, I see.
So it really makes you ask yourself, doesn't it? How does my role right now contribute? And maybe more uncomfortably, how might my work unintentionally detract, maybe create some of that waiting or excess processing for someone else?
That completely shifts the perspective. It's not just about the final output. It's the whole ecosystem working together or not working together efficiently.
Exactly. It fosters a more systemic view.
Okay, so we've identified this idea of waste. We see how everyone fits in. What about fixing it? What are some of those practical tools the sources mention? Let's start with 5S. It sounds, basic almost, but it seems really powerful.
It is foundational. 5S is really about workplace organization. It touches on housekeeping, visual controls, even ergonomics, and it sets the stage for standard work, which we'll get to.
Right.
The power comes from systematically applying these 5 steps. Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Think of it like a really deep spring clean for your workspace, but with a system.
Okay.
It improves safety, boosts productivity, can definitely lift morale, and it even cuts costs by reducing the need for maybe extra tools or supplies, because you can always find what you need.
The materials have this neat analogy like cleaning up a really messy, cluttered sentence until it's clear and readable. That's like applying 5S. Can you break down those 5S's for us?
Sure. So sort is step one. You go through everything in the work area and remove what's not needed. Be ruthless. If you don't need it, get rid of it.
Decluttering.
Exactly. Then set in order. This is about finding the optimal place for everything that's left. Tools, materials, information. Making it obvious where things belong so they're easy to find and, just as importantly, easy to put back. Think a place for everything and everything in its place.
Got it.
Shine is next. This is cleaning, yes, but it's also inspection. While you're cleaning, you look for potential problems. Leaks, wear and tear, loose connections. Things you can fix before they cause a breakdown.
Proactive maintenance almost.
Precisely. Then standardize. This is where you lock in the improvements. You create clear rules, maybe use visual aids like labels or outlines, develop checklists, train people on the new standard way.
So it sticks.
Exactly. And finally, sustain. This is the hard part, making sure it doesn't just slide back. It requires discipline, regular checks or audits, maybe management involvement to keep the habit going. It's amazing how these simple steps can cut down time wasted looking for things and just make the whole workflow smoother.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, beyond just organizing the space, another big time sink is often switching between different tasks or products. The materials talk about quick changeover. Sounds very factory floor specific.
It might sound that way, but the principle is widely applicable. Quick changeover, or SMAD, single minute exchange of die, is all about drastically cutting the time it takes to switch from making one thing to making the next.
How does it work?
The key idea is to look at all the tasks involved in the switch, the setup. Then you figure out which tasks absolutely have to be done when the machine or process is stopped. Those are internal tasks.
Okay.
And which tasks can be done while it's still running or beforehand. Those are external tasks. The goal is to convert as many internal tasks to external as possible. Prepare things in advance.
Ah, like getting all your ingredients chopped and measured before you start cooking.
Exactly that. That's a perfect analogy. By preparing externally, you minimize the actual downtime. This makes producing smaller batches economically viable, which means you can be much more responsive to customer needs. You don't need huge stockpiles of inventory, and overall productivity goes up. It's all about preparation and streamlining the actual switch.
Love that analogy. Makes it very clear. And then there's just-in-time, or JIT. We hear this one a lot. What's the real deal with JIT in practice?
JIT is about producing just the required products in just the required quantity, just when the customer actually requires them. It's a pull system.
Pull system meaning?
Meaning production is triggered by actual customer demand, pulling materials through the system rather than pushing products out based on a forecast, which often leads to overstocking.
Right.
The ideal is often called stockless production, though that's an ideal, obviously. It means very short lead times and high responsiveness.
Yeah.
But here's the thing the materials highlight. JIT forces transparency because that inventory you might normally hold. It often hides problems, like poor product design, really long setup times, maybe an inefficient factory layout, unreliable suppliers, machine breakdowns.
So the buffer stock covers up the sins, basically.
You got it. JIT removes the buffer, so those problems become painfully obvious. It forces you into a cycle of continuous improvement because you have to fix those underlying issues for JIT to work.
Okay, but doesn't that make the system, well, fragile? If you have no buffer and a supplier suddenly has an issue or a machine breaks down unexpectedly, aren't you stuck? How do lean companies handle that risk?
That's the critical question, and you're right, it seems risky on the surface. But lean thinking replaces inventory buffers with other forms of resilience.
Like
building really strong collaborative relationships with a smaller group of highly reliable suppliers. Investing heavily in preventative maintenance, what we'll call TPM, to minimize breakdowns.
Right.
Cross-training employees so they're flexible. Improving processes to make them inherently more stable. JIT exposes weakness, yes. But the lean philosophy is to fix the weakness, not just cover it up with costly inventory.
okay, that makes sense. Build resilience into the system itself, not just rely on stock.
Precisely.
All right, so we've got tools for organizing, streamlining changeovers, managing flow, but things still go wrong sometimes. Problems recur. That's where root cause analysis comes in, right? To dig deeper.
Exactly. Root cause analysis, or RCA, is about finding out what really caused a problem, not just the surface symptom. You want to know what happened, how it happened, and crucially, why it happened, so you can prevent it from happening again.
Not just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Right. Applying quick fixes often means the problem just pops up again later, maybe somewhere else. One really effective technique the materials mentioned is the 5 Whys.
Ah, yes, the 5 Whys. It sounds simple.
It is simple, deceptively so. You just keep asking why until you get to the fundamental underlying cause.
The sources use a good example with a leaking hydraulic cylinder. Can you walk us through that? How asking why repeatedly gets you to the root cause.
Sure. So the problem is observed. The cylinder is leaking.
Okay.
Why? First, why? Why was it leaking? The investigation finds the seal was damaged.
Okay. Simple enough. Why was the seal damaged?
Second, why? Well, looking closer, the cylinder rod itself was scratched, and that damaged the seal.
Ah, okay. Why was the rod scratched?
Third, why? Further investigation reveals contamination, metal shavings, bits of swarf, that kind of stuff got in and scratched the rod.
Right. So why was there contamination? Where did it come from?
Fourth, why? Good question. Turns out the protective shield or cover for the cylinder rod was missing.
Missing. Okay, final question maybe. Why was the protective shield missing?
Fifth, why? And the answer they found was that the whole area around the cylinder had become filled up with debris, general mess, which had actually physically ripped the shield off.
Wow. So the root cause isn't a faulty seal or even a missing shield. It's the messy work area allowing debris to accumulate.
Exactly. Fixing the seal or replacing the shield is just a temporary fix if you don't address the debris problem. The 5 Whys helps you drill down past the symptoms.
That's a powerful illustration. And it links back to maintenance and housekeeping, doesn't it? This brings us to total productive maintenance, or TPM. The materials say poor maintenance is a huge source of loss.
A massive source. They group these losses into the 6 big losses and have that handy acronym, BIRDS.
BIRDS, let me see if I remember. Breakdowns, idling and minor stoppages, reduced speed, defects and rework, setup losses, and startup losses.
You got it, BIRDS. It covers downtime losses, speed losses, and defect losses. And the core idea of TPM is shifting maintenance from being purely reactive, fix it when it breaks, to being proactive and preventative.
And it's not just for the maintenance crew, right?
No, absolutely not. That's the total part. TPM emphasizes that maintenance is everyone's responsibility, especially the operator who works with the equipment every day. They're the first line of defense.
How does that work in practice?
Operators are trained to do routine cleaning, inspection, lubrication, minor adjustments. They learn to spot early warning signs. It involves integrating maintenance thinking into daily operations. Using 5S, for instance, helps keep equipment clean and makes problems visually obvious.
So it improves the machine by improving the people operating it.
Exactly. It improves machine capability and people capability. The goal is ambitious. 0 breakdowns, 0 speed losses, 0 defects. It challenges the mindset that breakdowns are just inevitable.
Okay, so whether it's improvements from 5S or TPM or streamlining processes, how do you make sure these changes actually stick? How do you lock them in? That seems to be where standard work comes in.
Precisely. Standardization is key. It creates predictability and stability. If a task or process is done the same way, the best way we currently know, every single time, then you get consistent quality and you can properly engineer it for safety.
So standard operating procedures, SOPs.
Yes, SOPs are the documented form of standard work. They define the best current way to do a task, considering safety, quality, cost, delivery, all those factors. But they're not meant to be set in stone forever.
Ah, okay. How so?
They provide the essential baseline. The materials make a great point. You can't measure improvements without knowing what you started with. So the standard represents your current best performance.
Right.
Once you have that standard stable, then you can look for ways to improve it. Standard work isn't about stopping innovation. It's about providing the stable foundation for innovation and continuous improvement. You need to know the current best way before you can reliably test if a new way is actually better.
That's a really important nuance. Standardization enables improvement. It doesn't prevent it. Okay, connecting all this up. The materials also talk about cost factors. How does this whole lean approach change how companies think about cost and pricing?
It flips the traditional model on its head, really.
Yeah.
The old way is often cost plus pricing.
Meaning you figure out your costs, add a profit margin, and that's your selling price.
Exactly. Cost plus profit, price. If your costs go up, you try to raise your price. Lean manufacturing argues that in most competitive markets, the price is set by the market, by what the customer is willing to pay.
So you start with the price.
Yes. The lean formula is essentially price, cost, profit. The market price is the given. To increase your profit, you absolutely have to reduce your costs, material, labor, overheads, all that waste we talked about.
Wow, that forces a completely different focus.
It does. It puts intense, continuous pressure on finding and eliminating waste and improving efficiency, because that's the primary lever you have to improve profitability. It means you have to understand how any improvement, anywhere in the system, affects the total cost, not just optimizing one little piece in isolation.
That really centers the customer and the market reality, doesn't it? Okay, so let's say we've done all this amazing work. We've identified waste, used 5S, implemented JIT where appropriate, tackled root causes, standardized the improvements. How do we keep it going? The materials mentioned discipline, effort, and communication. Why do so many improvement efforts seem to fizzle out?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Sustaining improvement is tough. It definitely requires setting clear goals, smart goals,
Right.
specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, timed.
Right.
And you need to track performance using key performance indicators, KPIs, to see if you're hitting targets, if changes actually helped, if the gains are holding, and if you need to take corrective action. But beyond the metrics, communication is absolutely vital and often where things fall down.
How so? What kind of communication makes the biggest difference?
Well, it often fades after the initial implementation excitement. One really impactful thing is regular management walks, not just walking through, but stopping, observing, asking questions like, how's it going? What problems are you facing? How can I help? It shows ongoing commitment.
Active engagement.
Yes. Using visual tools like andons, those lights or signals that flag a problem, immediately keeps communication about issues transparent and fast. Even simple things like really clear, effective shift handovers are crucial communication points to prevent information dropping between the cracks.
So it's about building a culture, really.
Exactly. A culture where everyone feels involved, motivated, takes ownership, and communication flows freely, both up and down. I've seen technically brilliant lean projects just wither because communication wasn't sustained. People slip back into old habits because the focus shifted elsewhere.
Looking back at everything, it really strikes me how much this is about people behavior, communication, collaboration, not just tweaking machines or processes.
It's fundamentally about people and process working together seamlessly. The tools are just enablers.
So we've taken quite a journey here, a real deep dive into operational excellence using these lean principles from the materials. We've gone from understanding the 8 wastes
Defects, overproduction, waiting, all those productivity killers.
to practical tools like 5S for getting organized, quick changeover for flexibility, just in time for smooth flow,
Then digging into problems with root cause analysis, the 5 whys.
and sustaining it all with total productive maintenance and standard work. It really is a powerful toolkit.
It is. And the core idea really is simple, even if implementing it takes discipline. It's about consistently delivering what the customer values by relentlessly getting rid of waste in all its forms.
And empowering everyone to be part of that improvement journey.
Yes, and understanding the real cost impact of everything you do. It's about being proactive, driving improvement, not just reacting to problems. It encourages that critical thinking, questioning how things are done.
So, for everyone listening, what does this mean for you? Next time you're facing, I don't know, a messy desk or a problem that keeps popping up or just a process that feels clunky,
Yeah, think about it.
could you apply one of these lean ideas? Could you use 5S on your digital files? Could you ask why 5 times about that recurring issue? How could you create more value with less waste right where you are?
And maybe think about that cost perspective. Shifting from how much profit can I add to my cost to how much cost can I remove to meet the market price and still make a profit? How does that change your approach?
The power really seems to be in the mindset shift, applying these ideas beyond just the factory.
Absolutely. It transforms how you approach almost any challenge. So maybe the final thought is this. What waste are you currently tolerating in your work, in your routines? Maybe it's too much inventory of unfinished tasks, maybe waiting for information.
Or maybe not fully utilizing your own talents on the things that matter most.
Exactly. What one bit of waste could you identify and start tackling today? What one simple standard could you create for yourself or your team that would make things just a little bit smoother, a little bit better tomorrow?